Tracy didn't send off a trial page for today. Did you need one?
No.
I have one for the judge here, so.
I don't need one, thank you.
Okay.
Hey. Oh.
No, as long as you don't have it on the. Ready?
It's ready. May exceed, the Court 23 is now back in session.
Ron?
Hi, Judges. Page 25, C282-760-1 and C290530-1, Holland.
All right, good morning, everyone. So it's the time set for sentencing for Mr. Holland. This is by way of jury verdict. As a procedural matter, we have how many victim speakers?
3, Your Honor.
And they'll speak last. Okay, so by the state?
Your Honor, I believe that the statements made by the victims today and the fact that the court heard this trial.
And I do have a vivid recollection of this trial.
And I believe that the court's recollection, along with the statements that are about to be made by the victims, adequately address all the concerns in sentencing and submitted to the court.
Okay, Mr. Perez.
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, in speaking with Mr. Holland, I would request that he speak and then I will speak thereafter.
That's fine. Mr. Holland, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity, Judge Miley. Judge Miley, I vehemently maintain my innocence. All I'm asking for is for a just, equitable opportunity to present my witnesses, which I was not allowed to present, 0, to present evidence, which none was allowed to
Okay,
be
Mr.
brought in.
Holland, so this is, the purpose of this is to tell me what I need to consider about you when I'm going to sentence you. I did receive a letter from Mr. Holland, and my staff, as a practical matter, they always send a copy to both the state and the defense, and I believe they did so. Did they? Did she not?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you have it. And basically, Mr. Holland indicated to me that he believes there's discovery that he's entitled to that he did not receive. And after this is over, I'm assuming you're going to give him everything he needs to follow through with any post-conviction relief, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So that really is not the issue for today. Rather, it's just what do I need to know about you, sir, for purposes of sentencing?
My Lord, Judge Miley, people are about to stand up and say the most horrible things that I have not had an opportunity to present witnesses, evidence, nor facts to defend my case. I thought I would simply be able to state that I'm looking forward to the appellate process to have a fair opportunity to present witnesses, evidence, and facts.
Okay, so sir, if you desire the
To prove
appellate
my
process,
innocence.
okay, if you desire the appellate process is always available to you, but I need to hear about what do I need to know today for purposes of sentencing you.
What I just stated, I have not had a trial.
Sir, you did have a trial.
I was not allowed to present evidence, witnesses,
Sir, you
nor
had
facts.
a trial, and I understand that you may disagree with the outcome of that trial, but you did have a trial. And again, there will be relief available to you if you so desire for post-conviction relief, okay? But what I need to know, sir, is what do I need to know about you for purposes of sentencing?
that I have not been given an opportunity to prove my innocence with evidence, witnesses, and facts.
Okay, you said this now 3 times.
Ma'am, that's all I'm looking forward to in an American court, an opportunity to present my case. I've been denied that this far. That's all.
Okay.
And I thank you, but that's all I'm waiting for.
Is there, well, we did have a jury trial. And again, I understand that you disagree with the outcome. Is there anything else I need to know about you, sir? I mean, I have obviously the PSI, which does give me some information about you.
But which the woman that came to speak with me has lied on that, ma'am. There's statements out there that are not true. That
Okay,
she herself
so
put there.
what do you believe in the PSI is inaccurate, sir?
Judge Miley, I'm exhausted.
The reason I'm asking what you believe is inaccurate in the PSI is because if you're challenging, okay, obviously I look at a bunch of things in sentencing you. I listen to what you're saying, I listen to what the lawyers are saying, I get this background information on you. So what's contained in this is information that I do rely on in part. So if there's something inaccurate in that information, I need to know, because today is the only time you can challenge it.
I understand. Judge Miley, I would leave that to my counselor to discuss with you and all, again, Judge Miley. As you know, I've been very mannerable, very cooperative, and very polite to you. Never disrespectful. I'm simply waiting for an opportunity that Mr. Bobby Langford had to speak and present my case. He had the opportunity. I've not had that opportunity. Witnesses, evidence, and facts. That's all I'm asking. Nothing more.
Okay, so is
Thank
there
you, ma'am.
anything else? That's it?
Looking for an opportunity to present my case in a just, equitable, fair manner. I've been denied that. 0 witnesses, 0 evidence, 0 facts. It was a lynching. That's all I'm asking for, is a fair opportunity.
All right, counsel?
Your Honor, as the court is well aware, I was not the attorney of record at the time of the trial, so I'm coming into this somewhat handicapped by my effective ignorance of precisely what went on and what discussions were had between the parties either on or off the record. However, I have been provided with a great deal of the discovery. I've been provided with excerpts from the trial, from the jabs, for my review, and I appreciate your staff providing that to me well in advance of the sentencing date, just to try and get up to speed, since I was somewhat behind the curve when I was first appointed earlier this summer. I realize the facts in this case were egregious. The allegations were admittedly horrific. And Mr. Holland certainly, as he has indicated throughout these proceedings, takes issue with how the facts in this case were presented, not only by the prosecutors, however, as well by his own defense at
Can I
the time.
stop you for 1 second? I just want to confirm that there's no Stockmeyer challenges with respect to the supplemental PSI, because that's what I'm going to utilize today.
Regarding the Stockmeyer challenges, no. Some of the issues that Mr. Holland and I had discussed regarding the incorrect information is really contained, for example, on page 2 regarding his personal identifiers and how he identified his race. It was nothing substantive upon which I think this court would rely in making a determination as to what was an appropriate sentence, nor does Mr. Holland take any umbrage with any of the, again, more substantive aspects such as his criminal history, which is very brief, as we do see on in the PSI itself,
Yeah.
consisting of only 1 misdemeanor from 1981, if I'm not mistaken. So we have no issues with that. It was more on some of the identifiers that were attributed to him in statements that he ostensibly made to the individual who wrote this PSI. As indicated in the PSI, Mr. Holland ceased responding to the questions at some point in time, and thereafter there were various information such regarding his personal history, medical history, mental health history, which remained blank. He's not disputing that he did not address those concerns with the drafter of the PSI, merely more, again, issues regarding his personal identifiers that were attributed to statements he made that he indicates to me that he never made.
Okay, I think a lot of that stuff is just so he can be identified as the correct individual. Doesn't really make a difference to me what his race is, his eye color, hair color, etc. is.
Exactly, and that's why there are no Stockmeyer-related issues. How a person may have self-identified would have absolutely no bearing in this or any other courtroom regarding the ultimate sentence in a case, especially one such as this.
Okay.
So we do not have any, obviously Mr. Holland is not necessarily agreeing with the factual summary contained in the PSI, the synopsis. Mr. Holland disagrees with much of the evidence that was presented, but in my discussions with him leading up to sentencing, even he can understand how the jury, when it was presented only that with which it was presented, how they arrived at their verdict. Obviously he feels that his defense was not appropriate, and as the court had indicated to him, and in my discussions with him, we've talked about how that's not pertinent for purposes of the sentencing, or even potentially the appeal. That will be addressed through the appellate process, and then the steps that he may choose to take thereafter. But I would note for the court that Mr. Holland, as I had indicated when we were talking about the Stockmeyer issues, he does not have any significant criminal history. He had the one isolated misdemeanor decades ago, and then these incidents arose. He has vehemently denied committing any of these incidents, but we understand and we respect the jury process. What I'm going to request that this court do ultimately in this case is sentence Mr. Holland statutorily, as is required by law, but run the counts in this case concurrent with one another. I realize there were multiple victims, and it's not a one-time isolated incident that resulted in multiple different convictions on multiple different counts. But taking into account Mr. Holland's age, taking into account the fact that, again, he does not have any significant criminal history prior to this incident or these allegations arising, taking into account the decades of time Mr. Holland has spent as a pastor and enriching the lives of others, of being a member of his community, being there for people in need. Again, he disputes the allegations contained herein, but no one seems to dispute the fact that Mr. Holland, in order to be a pastor for 20 years, one has to be able to connect. One has to be able to provide for those who attend the services. They have to be given a reason to keep coming back, and Mr. Holland provided that to them. He has been involved in bettering numerous lives. Hundreds, if not thousands of people have come into contact with him, and he's been there for them. It's unfortunate that the jury verdict came down the way it did. It's unfortunate that the problems arose in Mr. Holland's life that resulted in being here today. But because of what he had contributed to the community, and because of his lack of significant criminal history, I would ask that these counts be run concurrently with one another. Regarding the credit for time served, we have calculated, and speaking with the state, 1,679 days through today's date.
All right, thank you. The victims?
I believe Jasmine Walker will speak first.
All right, and Ms. Walker can stand by Mr. Langford if she's comfortable there. All right, ma'am, you're going to have to raise your right hand to be sworn in.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Jasmine Walker, JAZZNYNWALKER.
How old are you now?
21.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, ma'am.
It's roughly 9 p.m. and I'm sitting downstairs on my living room couch. Blank, feeling a rotting sensation in the pit of my stomach, watching both of my fathers say, "It's going to be okay." Knowing that they're saying just that, watching their lips moving, but a ringing in my ears is blocking the noise. My mother is upstairs crying in her bedroom in shock and disbelief, and for a moment I felt like a zombie. I felt my fingers and toes go numb, and my chest felt like it was going to completely cave in. I then find myself sitting in the passenger seat of a cop car, feeling a sense of chaos and comfort at once. feeling so much at once that I can't even cry. I can't even feel pain anymore. I can only feel my head slightly throbbing and my senses going numb. I'm blank, so blank that I can't feel anything. No sadness nor happiness, no anger or anxiety, but just an exhaustion and stress for what lies ahead. I get to the police station and it's empty. My dad by my side telling me everything will be okay. And as I look into his eyes, I see strength, and I expected to see fear, but I saw strength. Immediately, I get taken into a room and sit down at the end of a long table with a tape recorder in the center, and the detective says, "Okay, Jasmine, let's start from the beginning." And so it began. After a long evening of writing and explaining, I get tired, and my father's still staying strong, waiting patiently every second, minute, and hour for me to finish writing one incident report and beginning to speak into another microphone. And finally, the process of the first day is over, and I can use the bathroom in the police station. I walk in and I look at myself in the mirror, and I start to cry for the first time. I bend down over the sink and I splash water in my face, and I look myself deep into my soul, and I remind myself, the only thing there is to fear is fear itself, and the truth will always set me free. I leave the bathroom, and my dad and I leave the police station, and he takes me home. By now it's 6 o'clock a.m., and I have no time to sleep, so I asked my mom if I could stay home from school that day, and she said yes. From that moment on, I felt something. An overwhelming feeling of blank emotions. I locked myself in my room, and I didn't know that at that moment, for the next 5 years of my life, is how I similarly was going to be living my life. Locked inside of my mind, constantly flashing back to moments in the presence of a man taking away what I had left of my innocence and making me want to do nothing more than take my own life, rather than to even have to dwell on one more thought of his hands grazing against my torso, kissing my stomach, taking off my pants while I'm keeping my composure, or watching him stand and speak at the front of every Sunday service, knowing and constantly thinking about the foul, repulsing things he did to me in his presence the Sunday before, and knowing that he would do it again. Crying on my shower floor, hoping the loud noise will drown out the sound of me sobbing, for what my parents would assume no reason. Hiding behind a smile and keeping a composure in fear that I'll get beaten or putting down for my pastor, trying to change different church for that matter. The very repulsing smile on every one of his facial expressions after he was done. Being afraid of everything, especially having a boyfriend, because no one was allowed to know. Not knowing what to tell my parents that we talked about, because afterwards, after all, he was counseling me. My mom driving far, far lengths to drop me off at his house, scolding me on the way, telling me, "This better work, Jasmine, you better be listening to the things he's teaching you because it's going to get hard driving out here all the time." Waking up on Christmas morning, excited to open my presents and use my new things, getting a phone call from him demanding me to get to his house immediately, and me sobbing in my bedroom, sobbing to my parents and begging and pleading not to take me to his home, just to please say no. Knowing that my parents didn't have the strength to say no because they loved me and they just wanted to see me be a good teenage girl, and if I did not go there, I'd be ruined. Having so much taken away from me, and what was this all for? Sexual desires and pleasures. One man took away my innocence, my entire childhood, memories and happiness that can never be given back to me for your own personal satisfaction. And all of this was just the beginning of the rest of my life. Having to live with this on my back forever. And this was just the first 48 hours. As time goes on, I'm still just blank, and only become more and more blank. I then was mocked, called a slut and a whore by 80 different people from the church, was called a drug addict, was protested against, was threatened, had various people calling my home and cell phone, my mother's phone, my father's work phone, being called an ignorant whore, all by people I was raised around. We were taught to love these people more than our own blood. People I looked at as aunts and uncles and best friends that I told I would be best friends with forever. The only people I have ever known to spend all of our time around were now my worst enemies in a matter of days. I began to develop a slight fear. only when I'd walk down the road to my friends' houses alone, wondering if somebody would come up on me and jump me, or beat me, or stalk me. I was afraid of random numbers that would call and hang up when I would answer the phone long enough to say hello. Afraid of if maybe people had watched the news and knew it was me that all the ranting was about. Walking through school underdressed and hidden as much as possible, feeling uncomfortable, and wanting more than ever to just change my identity so nobody could know who I am. For a while, I did just that, cutting and changing the colors of my hair once a month and trying to change who I was. I was wanting to just run away and change my life and become someone else. I was sick and tired of walking into a family function and watching people cry. I was grateful yet pained by the long messages sent to me by family members showing me love and compassion, wishing they didn't even have to do that, wishing they didn't even have to see me this way, and always wondering when I could randomly get a call into court and getting pulled out of class, having to change into my court dress in the car again, or worse, getting a call saying that the man I hate the most is getting more time from the judge so the court date has been canceled or changed. Trying to remember everything perfectly written in my incident reports, knowing that I'm going to get questions asked like, how long did you stay at his house for? Did you smoke cigarettes? Why didn't you just tell your parents? Were you a troubled teen? Did your mom fight a lot with you? How long did you sit on top of the saddle, which was considered a sex toy? Are you sure you did this for this long? Because here on this page it says you did it for 30 minutes, so what was it, miss? Also, these men defending the man who did these things to me could say, look, she's a lunatic. She can't get her story straight. Why can't she properly answer my questions? But little does they know that just sitting in that very chair in the courtroom, I feel like I'm drowning. I feel as though I'm sinking to the bottom of the deepest pool you could ever imagine with hundreds of people standing around the edges, looking down at me, walking down at me, watching me sink into the crystal clear water. Struggling to swim back up to the top, but I can't. And the only man trying to pull me out is Mr. Langford, swimming in after me and grabbing my hand to pull me up just before I hit the bottom and give in. I would feel such a sense of anger towards the men defending this man, wanting to get out of my chair and strangle them simply because I was sick of being judged and ridiculed by everyone. Battling these feelings, I felt alone. And out of this entire process, my grandmother and mother would start talking to me about it in the kitchen, and I would stand there watching them cry and hold them, trying to stay strong and not finding an ounce of urge to shed a tear. I simply couldn't. As much as I wanted to cry and let it out, I could not. The only person who had truly seen me cry was my best friend, and she held me as I let it all out. The only way I could find myself feeling towards this situation was at least having a glass of wine to loosen up. And she was the only person who had seen me cry in the 5 years that this case had gone on. I had been put through so much stress, grief, so much I couldn't feel anything. I have suffered from depression from this, and frankly, I could go on and on for hours about every single important detail about my feelings and what I went through in detail, but in the end, this could be falling upon deaf ears of the one person this letter means the most to, and that's you, Otis Holland. Imagine yourself in an empty room, just you and I standing in it. Block out all of these people standing around us and look at me. Right now, it is just you and I. This entire letter could mean nothing to you, and that's fine. You are welcome to forget everything spoken, but what means the most to me is that I want you to look into my eyes. You may have denied the things you have done to hundreds of thousands of people verbally. You may hate me with every single last bit of your being, and that's okay. But when it comes right down to it, everything in this world comes with a price. You know very well what you have done. You may deny it, but truth speaks for itself. People say that once you lie about something for so long, you can tend to believe your own lies. You have the freedom to believe what you want, but now you must pay the price for taking my innocence. And looking into my eyes, I hope that you sit and ponder and rot in prison, and you'll remember the things you've done, and you'll remember this letter, and you'll feel my pain. And you'll cry, and live locked inside of your mind just as I did at such a young age, and feel so much pain that you'll at some point want nothing more but to take your own life. But except now you can't. All you have now is your memories locked inside of your mental Rolodex. And when you ask yourself why, just remind yourself who is to blame. All simply for your own selfish pleasure. And as for me, I can't buy back the lost memories that I have never got to experience. But what I can do is try my hardest to forget about the things you have done and push them so far back into my subconscious that maybe someday that won't cause me to have my night terrors any longer. And forgive myself for letting you dwell so much in my head. I'm allowing myself to build strength from this situation and be a beacon of hope for any and all people out there that have remotely been through what you have done to me. And to always know that the only thing there is to fear is fear itself. The truth will always set you free. And what doesn't kill you mentally and physically will only make you stronger. And with this being said, I bid you adieu. It's time for you to think, and it's time for me to live.
Thank you. Can you go sit down? Next witness, I'm sorry, next victim, please.
Rosemary Ferris.
Your Honor, if I may, I would just request that for subsequent speakers, that the court be addressed. This is an opportunity for the court to speak to me, for the victims in this case to speak to the court, not necessarily to any one person in particular. And I would just ask that any subsequent speakers do so.
Hi, good morning. All right, so you're going to need to be sworn in and tell me how this has affected you, okay?
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Would you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Yes. It's Rosemary Farias, Rosemary F-A. When I was younger, I will admit that you had a firm hold on me. You had me and my family in the palm of your hands, and we practically worshipped the ground that you walked on and never questioned any instruction or advice that you gave us or any decision that you made. I genuinely and naively believed that you had my best interest at heart. And you even had the audacity to use the name of God as a front and a means of justification for all of your lying and scheming and deceiving. You were perfectly aware of everything you were doing, which makes all of what you did even more detestable. Well, I'm here to set the record straight and to make sure that there's absolutely no confusion whatsoever. Yes, there was a point in my past when I thought I was in love with you, and yes, there was a time in my past where I would have done anything for you, and I did. I destroyed what I didn't even know was evidence at the time because you asked me to. I lied to the detectives the first time because you asked me to. I even lied to my own family about the nature of our relationship. And although most of what you told me to do I did willingly, that doesn't negate the fact that you still manipulated me the entire time. And you knew exactly what you were doing. And it was wrong. I don't think you understand that everything that you did was wrong.
Ma'am, tell me how this has affected you.
Okay. A lot of the same reasons that Jasmine just stated, I experienced, and you took things from me that I can also not get back. You robbed me of my innocence and my free will to think for myself, to have my own voice and to make my own decisions for myself and to be my own person. He exposed me to a world that I never wanted to be a part of. And I experienced things that I never wished that I did. And what existed of me as a young girl at that point was taken from me. And a lot of it destroyed. But not all of it, because I'm here now. I just want it to be known that I'm not afraid and I have no reason to be. And that this situation, this is the situation that happened does not define me. This does not define my life. I don't love him. I never have. I never will. He has no control over me. No matter what I said or believed in myself or what he said to me. My body is mine. My heart is mine. And I was manipulated, I was abused and exploited for his own pleasure. And I just want it to be known so there's absolutely no confusion that I don't have any kind of tie or connection to him and what happened to him. My wish is that it's the reality of what he has done is understood to him. So.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Come on up, ma'am. Please raise your right hand when you get up to be sworn in.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Would you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Sure. Jeanette Kopecki, Janettekopecky.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to get up here and speak from a parent's point of view and from my family's point of view. Manipulation is the only word that comes to mind that I can continue to keep saying has been happening to this day. Manipulation in the sense of what our family has been through. We have been through hell. Our family has suffered greatly in the relationships, the connections. There's been words spoken about how much he's helped other people. Well, he's damaged our lives. He's damaged our family. He has left our family in shambles to the point to where there's been fear. There's been terror to this day. To this day. Raising a family and being a part of the hierarchy of the family, we have such a strong responsibility, and we have a responsibility for our children. And I'm going to tell you, it's been very hard. Having that strength for my daughter, who you can see got up and spoke eloquently, that is her doing. That is what's on her mind. That is the truth. The truth. That's what I've always fought for my entire life. I am so grateful for this country and being able to have this in this court to this day because I believe in this court. I believe in our country. I believe in the truth, and I know that it's going to set this entire situation free. You know, I wanted to speak about how much our lives have been, how we're moving forward and we have hope, but I also wanted to say that it's been really hard. Right down to my little list of tiniest ones. It's not just affected my entire family, it's affected all the people around us. It's affected my community, the people that care for us, that know about this situation. It's affected probably everybody in this room. So from a standpoint of a parent, I just want to say the manipulation still continues to this day through having to continue these court cases and continue and continue. Today we're going to leave this courtroom and we are going to move on And exactly like Jasmine said, I believe in this court. I believe in this the justice of this court, and I believe that he's going to be behind bars, and I believe that that's where he's going to stay, and that's where he needs to stay.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other speakers?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Holland, please stand. Sir, the court finds you guilty on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, felonies. The court finds you guilty on count 15, lewdness with a child under the age of 14, a felony. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, the court assesses a $25 administrative assessment fee. There's a $150 DNA analysis and testing fee, and a $3 DNA administrative assessment fee. Count 1, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 2, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 2 will run concurrent with count 1. Count 3, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years has been served. Count 3 will run concurrent with count 2. Count 4, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 4 will run concurrent with count 3. Count 5, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 5 will run concurrent with count 4. Count 6, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 6 will run concurrent with count 5. Count 7, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 7 will run concurrent with count 6. Count 8, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 8 will run concurrent with count 7. Count 9, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 9 will run concurrent with count 8. Count 10, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 10 will run concurrent with count 9. Count 11, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 11 will run consecutive to count 1. There is also restitution of $100 on count 11. Count 12, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 12 will run concurrent with count 11. Count 13, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 13 will run concurrent with count 12. Count 14, sexual assault with a minor under 16 years of age, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 25 years have been served. Count 14 will run concurrent with count 13. Count 15, lewdness with a child under the age of 14, a felony. The court sentences you to life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 10 years have been served. Count 15 will run consecutive to counts 1 and 11. There is also a fine on count 15 of $10,000. There is also restitution totaling $314.78 payable to victims of crime and $1,742.40 payable to Clark County Social Services, which is a total consecutive sentence of life with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 60 years have been served. There is a credit for time served on this case of 1,679 days. And let me just double check the restitution. I believe it was only on those 2 counts. Thank you. Any questions?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last count consecutively. You know what, counsel? I think I forgot a condition. I'm sorry. Is there a registration? There's going to be a registration on this, isn't there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Registration
sorry.
and supervision.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I did miss a statutory condition. It's not on the PSI, but it would be,
On his release, mandatory reporting within 48 hours.
it's lifetime supervision. And registration as a sex offender within.
48 hours of his release.
Okay. All right, sir. Based upon the nature of the charges against you, there is also statutory conditions of lifetime supervision, which will begin upon your release from parole or probation or release from custody. Also, you are going to register as a sex offender within 48 hours of release from custody. I believe that's the entirety of the statutory conditions, correct?
I believe so.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
You done for the day? I don't know.
Word came from a load of blend.
And then I write back, I said, maybe she should have used Maybelline instead of method.
So counts 1, so that's 25 and 25, and then the 10 would go consecutive to the 50. I always screw it up.
All right, we're done.
Yeah. A lot of life sentences.